Hey y'all, today for Foodie Friday, I'm gonna be making our pepper jack chicken from frozen. Oh, we're having a whole lot of fun. Oh yeah, that smells so good. Hey y'all, welcome back to another edition of Cooking Chris's Dishes with the good old boy, where I'm cooking up another dish from recipes.crock.com, my beautiful wife's cooking blog. And today is Foodie Friday once again, and we're going to be making an old standby, but we're going to do it a little different from what was on a previous blog where we made pepper jack chicken in our Instant Pot. If y'all remember that, we used fresh chicken. We're going to show you how to do it straight from frozen. Like, you know, you come home and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to make dinner. What do I have? Oh, I've got chicken, but it's still frozen. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Let me show you what you can do in around 15 minutes, give or take, depending on how well your Ninja Foodi or other electric pressure cooker does. And what you're going to need for pepper jack chicken is, well, you need chicken. I took a bag, a frozen bag, a 3-pound bag of chicken thighs, and I tossed her down here in the pot. They're still frozen, still cold chicken. And then what we're going to add to that is 1 bell pepper. We're using a red bell, and I've broken it down. It says sliced on the recipe, and the way I do that, since we're going to do this in a pressure cooker, I break them down into a little bit larger than bite-sized pieces. And the reason I do that, again, is because you're putting this in an extremely violent environment, and it's going to break down things really, really well. So the bigger pieces that you have, the better they will come out with the finished product. You also want to have 1/4 cup of butter, which is a half stick. You want to have salt and pepper to taste, a cup of freshly squeezed chicken, that's chicken broth for y'all. You also want to have 2 teaspoons of cumin, maybe 2.5 around this house because we really like the cumin for that smoky flavor. You want to have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And you also want to have 1 teaspoon of onion powder. Problem is, I don't have any onion powder, so I'm going to break this up just a little bit. I'm going to do a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then I'm going to do a teaspoon of minced garlic. That's okay. We like the garlic. I wish I had the onion. I love garlic and onion together, but we also really like garlic. Haven't seen a vampire since, so I guess it's working out for us. And then you also want to have an 8-ounce thing of mushrooms that you have rinsed well. Sliced up mushrooms, and a bag of frozen green beans, still frozen. And all you want to do is toss your chicken in your pot and then go to town on your seasoning. So I'm going to do my 2 teaspoons of cumin, and I'm going to do heavy pours on that cumin because we really do enjoy cumin around here. I like food with a lot of spice, and this definitely has that with the ingredients here. Like I said, I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'll round that off even because we're getting lots of garlic. And then this is going to be more for texture than anything, but I'll add in another teaspoon of minced garlic. What you're supposed to use is onion powder, and I recommend the onion powder. Let more friends come to the party, but right now we're dealing with what we got in our little RV, and I still need to run to the store. So garlic is the spice of the day. Now, a little salt. 5, 6, 7. For now, that's enough because we can always salt it more later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 twists of the pepper. And again, you can do more of that later if you want. And then I'm going to take my chicken broth and go all over those spices. And the reason you're doing chicken broth in this is because when you put a frozen dish or anything going on in a pressure cooker, you have to have liquid. Hence the freshly squeezed chicken. Otherwise, it will not come up to pressure, and if it does not come up to pressure, you're going to have some problems. You won't get your chicken cooked. I'm going to take my bell pepper, put it right in the top. Most of it didn't just fall out onto the counter. That's okay because I just cleaned this counter. My butter goes in there. And then throw my mushrooms in on top of all that. All them mushrooms, because mushrooms are delicious. Mikey, I don't like mushrooms. What do I do? Omit them. Leave them out. If you don't want mushrooms in your party, leave them out. Me, I like mushrooms because I'm a fun guy, that's right. But if you don't like mushrooms, just leave them out. Maybe add a different vegetable, maybe some broccoli, maybe Oh, I don't know, some cauliflower, maybe just some more bell pepper, or maybe some more green beans, like this one bag of green beans that's going right over the top. This thing is completely full with all those ingredients. I don't think I could put anything else in there if I wanted to, except maybe a little more liquid, but I don't want to, because as this starts to come to pressure, it's going to break down all the ice, all the liquids from all the rest of the ingredients in there. So I'm going to leave it as is. Now what I want to do, dry my hands off, pop my lid on, maybe, good Lord, there we go. Now, I'm going to turn this sucker on. We're going to put this on pressure, high, and we want to do this for 15 minutes. The original recipe said 10, and that's because we were using fresh chicken, not frozen chicken. We're using frozen chicken. Remember, you just got home and you want to have something to eat and everything you got's frozen. So we're going to go for 15 minutes on this, and that is going to allow that chicken to thaw out real quick and cook up real quick. And then after 15 minutes have elapsed, set yourself a timer. Don't keep this on warm. Do a quick release. Once you've done the quick release, you're going to have dinner. Oh, by the way, before I forget, there's one other ingredient that I failed to mention to you because it was not on the counter. And this is a pepper jack chicken recipe. And that's because on the very end of this, after we shred up this chicken, we're going to put some pepper jack cheese on top of it. Make it ooey gooey and cheesy, kind of soupy. It's going to be delicious. And you're going to see that in 3, 2, 1. Alright, the time is up. We brought this up to pressure. It took about 25, maybe 30 minutes to bring this up to pressure because you had all that frozen chicken in there, you had the frozen green beans in there, and it was full of food. But once it came up to pressure, it took 15 minutes, and then right after it got done, I left the warmer on and completely forgot about it, and it ran for another 5 minutes. So I know everything's cooked, and well, I still did a quick release on it, and this is what it looks like when she's done. Oh, steamy goodness, and it smells so good in here. You know what the funny thing is all those mushrooms were on top, and now look how they've all pushed in there, all shrunk up like mushrooms do, but look at all the colors. And now I want to get in there and take a look at this chicken. One way to do it is to pull out your chicken. Look, I'm doing here. Look how tender this chicken's going to be. Watch this. It just crushes up with my tongs. I'm not doing anything, no fork shredding or nothing, and I can crunch this up. Well, I say crunch, I can crush it up because there's no crunch involved. This is completely softened chicken, and that was straight from frozen into my Foodi. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue to use my tongs, then kind of break that chicken up. And as you saw in the overhead, there's lots and lots and lots of juice with this. So it's more, think of it like a soup, because you've got that 1 cup of chicken broth that was put in there, but there are cups and cups and cups of liquid in there because you got the liquid that comes out of the chicken, you got the liquid that comes out of the vegetables, and they all mix together with all those spices. And I tell you what, I've been doing this for 5 years, and it still amazes me what a Foodi or any kind of electric pressure cooker can do. I'm just stirring that up, and it's breaking that chicken down. And that's without me using a mixer or forks, because I'm using my, oh, I'm not supposed to tap that. I'm using my coated insert and not my stainless one. So I don't want to put anything metallic in there. But now that I've got this all mashed up, shredded up, to a really good consistency. Let me show you what that looks like. Check that out. That just looks like a really crazy good looking soup right there. A really good chicken soup. So now we've only got one more thing that we got to do. And that's to put your cheese on. I have 8 slices of pepper jack cheese. Mikey, I don't like pepper jack cheese. What else could I use? I don't care. Whatever kind of cheese you like. I don't know, maybe some provolone, like they would do on like an onion soup. You usually put provolone on that. Maybe some mozzarella. Maybe a Havarti cheese. Maybe give a little creaminess that way. But the boss wanted pepper jack because she enjoys pepper jack, and I do too. If you like a little heat in it, maybe you want to get some habanero cheese if you're crazy like that. I'm fine with it just like this. It'll give it a little bit more flavor. Makes it really pretty. But all I'm doing is just laying that cheese on the top of this pepper jack chicken recipe. I got 2 more slices to go, and then I will give you a show. Just like that, and here is the last slice, right here. Check that out. Right, like that. So all I did was put the cheese on top, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to close that lid. There's a lot of heat. I'm not putting the pressure lid back on, but there's still a lot of heat going on in there from all the ingredients that cooked up super hot. And all I want to do is sit there for a little bit while I tell you my favorite joke. Back in the old days, they used to have switch towers instead of dispatch centers like I used to work in. And a reporter went up to a switch tower one time and was talking to the operator of the tower and says, well, how does all this work? He goes, well, if I see a train coming, I just pull this lever over here and it makes the switch go over. It gives the train a signal and he goes on through. He says, well, what happens if you see 2 trains coming towards the same place? He says, well, then I just throw this switch over here, and I throw this switch over here, and that diverts one train over this way, and diverts this other train over this way. They both get signals, they pass each other, and they move on. And he says, well, what happens if that switch breaks? He says, oh, I just run out to the switch out into the field, and I manually throw that switch, and it gives that train a signal and tells the other train to stop. He says, what happens if you run out there and the switch breaks? He goes, oh, well, then I run back to the building over there in the shanty, and I hit this button, and it sets everything to an emergency level, and all the lights go red, and it stops both the trains. He goes, well, what if you run back to the shanty and your shanty's on fire? He says, well, I run down over the hill and I get Uncle Elmer. He says, why would you go get your Uncle Elmer? He says, because Uncle Elmer ain't seen a train wreck before. And that, so far, is my favorite joke. But that's as long as it takes to melt this cheese down. Check this out. Oh, yeah. That smells so good. If you all like chicken and cheese, and mushrooms, peppers, you're going to love this. Can't hold that camera and this at the same time. I'm making a mess. That will be enough for me for now. Maybe I'll get just a little bit of broth in there with it. Maybe a little bit more cheese because it is lunchtime. Alright, we'll come see you, see how well I did. I did leave the salt and pepper out just to see, just in case I might need it. By the way, we're in Grand Isle, Louisiana taping this right now. That's why you hear all the fans going, because it is warm out there today. The sun is beating down on Harvey. And when you got the sun beating down on Harvey and you're using an electric pressure cooker, it's still going to get a little warm in the kitchen. Let me tell you, I don't care whether it's warm or cold, this is going to be some good stuff. Let me grab a pepper. I got plenty of chicken. That chicken, like I said, it just shredded right up. Get a pepper. Some of that cheese. Look at that. Check that out. That is so good looking. Kind of like me. Let's see how it tastes. The chicken, not me. The one thing about the mushrooms is in the 15 minutes that they came under pressure or cooked under pressure, it didn't mush up the mushrooms. It gave them a really, really good, kind of like when you saute mushrooms, you know, that texture that they get where it's got a good chew to it. They're not rubbery at all. And of course, mushrooms are good about taking on flavors of everything else, so the mushrooms pulled on a good flavor. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. I think I undersalted, which is what you want to do. Undersalt, don't oversalt. Of course, I can tell I got cheese on my goatee. Put just a little bit of salt in there. Try that one more time and see if I can get a bigger bite of cheese with that. I like that pepper jack. And then, oh, I forgot about the green beans, dude. Oh my gosh, there's so many different ingredients in this. Super simple to put together, but the flavor combo, y'all, is ridiculous. Let's try that with a green bean. got too big of a bite. I'm not mad about it. I'm not sad about it. I'm pretty glad about it. That little dash of salt really helped. But you got that chicken that's nice and tender. And all I did is I took tongs and they just broke right up. The green beans, they're not mushy, they're not crunchy, and the mushrooms did the same thing. They just got a good texture. They give a good bite to them. I don't know, I'm trying to think of what the word is. Good, delicious, wonderful, that's it. And of course the peppers do the same thing. Now the peppers, like I said, I cut them in bigger pieces because they still broke down. Even with using the big pieces, they did break down in the Foodi. But they've got a good texture, add a little sweetness to everything. The cumin, the garlic, the extra garlic that was in there, it's very garlicky. I wish I'd have had the onion, but I'm okay with it because I love the garlic. And then you put that pepper jack cheese on top. Oh my gosh, it'll make you go cross-eyed. It is so good. Y'all, that was a simple one-pot meal that's a family favorite around here. Give it a try. I'm sure it'll be a family favorite for you as well. Whatever you do, make sure that if you have not become a member of the Crock Posse, click the little subscribe button down below and become a welcome member. That's all you got to do. If you want to know as soon as we put up those videos, every time that we do, make sure you click the little bell next to the subscribe button called the ding-a-ling. That lets YouTube know that you want to know when we put out a new video. But most importantly, y'all, whatever you do, laugh often, eat good food, and speak life. See y'all. If you want to see the latest, click on the left right here. If you feel like subscribing, click on the right, my dear. And if you think we're funny enough to send us money, click the Patreon link below.